123-88 as they take down Charlotte in a dominant performance, up by 24 at halftime. They extended it to 34 in the third quarter, ended up going up by as many as 38. They win 123-88. Ivica Zubac and James Harden near triple doubles. Kawhi Leonard, after starting 0 for 3, hit 9 of his next 13 and finished with 23 points. The Clippers got 33 points off the bench. They shot 48% from the field, 50% from three. Meanwhile, Charlotte was neutralized. Ty Lue said pregame he loves the way his defense has been playing, and they held the Hornets to 18% from three and under 40% from the field. It's the Clippers' third win this season by 30 or more. They take down the Hornets 123-88 and hold an opponent under 100 for the 17th time this season, the third best in the NBA. Well, for Carlo Jimenez, our statistician, Joey Kimball, our engineer today, David Bartley, Adam Oslin has you the rest of the night. Clippers, who have won 6 in a row. Home sweet home. It's good to be back here at Intuit Dome. We will see you in a few on your Clippers Audio Network.
This has been LA Clippers basketball. This is a team committed to winning. Every thrilling moment all season long can be heard right here and on the iHeartRadio app.
They look like the best team out there.
Clippers basketball is brought to you by the Kia Telluride, official vehicle of the LA Clippers, by the Hawaiian Islands. It's not just the place, it's the people that make Hawaii special. By your Southern California Toyota dealers. We make it easy by the Habit Burger. Hungry? Grab a double char from the Habit Burger and Grill, voted #1 burger by USA Today. And by Ford and the F-150. Tough this smart can only be called F-150. Join us next time on the LA Clippers iHeart Audio Network.
I think with Norman Powell, guys, this was about playing him a chunk of minutes with different players out there, since they do have a lot of roster turnover.
March 31st is the perfect time for a new Toyota, like Camry, Tundra, Grand Highlander,
he hasn't played
and more.
minutes like this
so you can
since
get back
the
out
Utah
there and
game
do the
before the
things you
All-Star
love, like strapping your bikes into the bed of a
He got to
Tundra to find
23.
some new trails. Too steep. Too steep.
I wonder, we'll hear Coach in the postgame.
Buds in a 4Runner. Woohoo!
I feel alive again.
Packing a Camry.
Zoo was a
full of
plus
plants
29, that's
to
it.
redo your garden.
Sign autographs here.
Loading up rods and reels into a Corolla Cross for a fly fishing trip. I got one! And hitching up the boat to a Grand Highlander.
Let's go, Clipper Nation. Clips 8 games above 500, matching a season high.
Fantasies with a new Toyota. Come in today.
I heard it was different.
No. Don't look at me now. Big win, baby.
This is Colin Cowherd.
Forget about the master bathroom and a great kitchen.
Harden
This
ties the
is
season
laying
high plus
concrete.
minus with plus 36.
This is foundation
guys.
up. They need stability.
With
They
a plus
need
36.
culture,
Is
and
that
he
good?
provides that.
Seems all
I
right.
think he's an excellent fit with the Raiders. Pretty good bet
35-point
that a
win.
coordinator just won't do.
Colin Cowherd. Weekday mornings at 9 a.m. after Dan Patrick. Right here on your home of the world champion
Third
Dodgers.
largest margin of victory on the year, guys. Third largest.
It's
for
where
the
we
Clippers.
raise our families, earn a
Where's
living,
this guy getting this
enjoy
stuff?
life.
But when disaster strikes,
Off top.
it takes all of us to come together
Oh,
and make it home again.
yeah.
Your Southern
Joey to my
California
left.
Ford dealers are helping first
Right here.
responders with donations
He's
and support to
Statistician
the
Joey.
LA Fire Department and California
Big
Community
J.
Wildfire
Mr. J.
Recovery.
If your vehicles were damaged by the recent Los Angeles area fires, your Southern California Ford dealers are offering you employee pricing.
Fourth game
It
of the
takes
season.
all of us to turn
The opponent
heartache
was
into
held
hope
under 90
and make it
points.
home again.
Seems good.
LA strong, built Ford proud.
The LA Clippers.
The game is ended,
Gather round, boys. Time to recap.
but the post-game coverage is just getting started.
The successes, the failures, let's discuss.
This is Clippers Locker Room, breaking down today's action with the pre- and post-game voice of the Clippers. Here's Adam Oslin.
Clippers kick the Hornets' nest, but don't get stung. They win 123-88 here at Intuit Dome over the Charlotte Hornets. Welcome into your postgame show. I'm Adam Oslin. Coming up, second half highlights, your postgame box score, and Clippers talk on AM 570 LA Sports. But first, let's head back over to your radio voice of the Clippers, in Carlo Jimenez. Pretty close to wire domination here by this Clippers team, Carlo, where they were led by 31 points from James Harden, who had 15 of them in the first quarter. Great start from the Bearded Wonder.
Yeah, the Clippers really dominated this ball game from start to finish, Adam. It was close for a moment early. We were tied at 11, and then the Clippers went up 11 quickly, 24-13, and that was all she wrote. The Clippers would end up taking an 11-point lead at the end of the first quarter. They would take a 24-point lead at the end of the second quarter. They would be up as many as 34 at the end of the third quarter, and they dominate Charlotte 123-88. The Clippers' run against the Hornets continues 14 straight now against the Charlotte Hornets, going back to December 31st of 2017. The Clippers have just dominated this matchup. Impressive performance all around. I think from the Clippers, this is exactly what you want to see, because waiting on the horizon is maybe the toughest 4 games of the season for this Clipper group. So you get rest for everyone, you get everybody involved, everyone hitting shots. Overall, it was on family night, Adam, a family effort from the Clippers.
And it takes a family to take down a Charlotte Hornets team like this in this fashion. Clippers winning 123-88. I will say this, Carlo, to be fair here, we've talked a lot about the opposition's hot shooting numbers against the Clippers over the last couple of months from 3. Well, things turned in their favor this time around. The law of averages was in their favor. The Charlotte Hornets went 6 of 33 from distance after hitting 26 three-pointers in their last outing. So this time, the Clippers got a little bit of love from the basketball gods.
Yeah, Charlotte went from their best three-point shooting game of the season to maybe their worst. They hit 6 threes today on 33 attempts. They had 18 in the first half in their last game, finished that game with 26 made three-pointers. So for the Clippers, you got what you wanted defensively, but yeah, Charlotte did miss some open ones in this one. I thought the Clippers did a great job, Adam, of after the first quarter really keeping Charlotte off the glass. This is a Hornets team that averages 19 points per game off second chance points. That is the second most in the NBA. Very similar to Houston. They rely on their second chance points as a huge part of their offense, and the Clippers hold them to just 13 in this ball game. You'll take it. And then the Clippers being able to just make the easy play today, Adam. They did not make it hard on themselves. They went into the paint. They went to Ivica Zubac. James Harden got to the line 9 times. Ty Lue was frustrated when this team was struggling that they weren't making the simple play. I thought they did that at an elite level today. 30 assists for the Clips, 10 steals, 5 blocks. They get 17 offensive rebounds and really just run away with this one since the second half of that first quarter. A 35-point win, all led by James Harden, who was 3 assists away from a triple-double.
Yeah, with those 30 assists on 45 makes, the Clippers almost assisted on 70% of their made shots in this ball game. That is a great number. That's sharing the sugar. And also, I mentioned this earlier, but Kawhi Leonard started 0 of 3 and then had 11 points in the second quarter. I believe at one point he hit 6 straight shots for the Clippers. Really good to see after a slow start there where it was all James Harden early on. Then Kawhi found his groove later on in this ballgame.
And it wasn't like Kawhi was getting open looks, too. He was making his own opportunities, getting into the paint, finding the mid-range jumpers, finished with 2 steals. I thought he should have had 3, but the box score says 2. 5 assists for Leonard, too, getting his teammates involved. The ball not really sticking with him in his 27 minutes. And we told you about it earlier on the broadcast, Adam, but James Harden and Kawhi Leonard, the last 7 games, are both averaging 38 minutes a ball game. So to get them at 32 and 27 is huge for their legs, especially when you consider the Clippers had a travel day yesterday. This was not really a day off in between. The first road game back from a road trip, or the first home game back from a road trip, always feels like another road game. The Clippers took care of business, and now they will take on back-to-back 1 seeds.
Clippers win by 35 here at Intuit Dome, where they have been dominant this season since November. 3rd best home record in the league. They win 123-88 over the Charlotte Hornets. Next game coming up against the Cleveland Cavaliers with the best record in the league overall. Tip-off against the Cavs back at Intuit Dome here on Tuesday night is at 7:30. We'll have your pregame show starting at 6:30. Carlo Jimenez, great call as always. Big one on Tuesday night. Can't wait.
It's time to see how that home court advantage fares against a team that's lost 11 games all year. I cannot wait, Adam. Let's go.
Coming up next, we got second half highlights as the Clippers dismantle the Hornets here on Sunday night. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network.
Did you know
Thanks,
that every
Daniel.
new
Nice,
Toyota
Daniel.
comes with Toyota
Hey, you got to take care.
no-cost maintenance plan that covers all normal factory scheduled service
So,
for 2
where's all the
years or
gloom and doomers that
25,000
said it was
miles,
over like a
whichever
week
comes
ago?
first.
Where's everybody
All
at?
work is performed by factory-trained technicians using
Sebastian
genuine
in
Toyota
here.
parts.
This TV
Toyota
in
Care
here.
will
Free
keep your new
TV.
Toyota running like, well, a
Come
Toyota.
outside.
Valid only in the continental U.S. and Alaska.
Good victory, Clipper
We
Nation.
make it easy. Toyota, let's go places.
Honestly, sometimes I do say in games like this,
Everything you need to
it's
find
hard to
your
learn
perfect
anything,
Toyota is right at your
but they
fingertips at
needed a game
Toyota.com.
like this. I think
Explore
this
our full lineup of
confirms how
vehicles.
well they have
Compare
been
features
playing
side by side.
overall.
Search
Winners
our
of 6 of
available
7
inventory.
now.
You can even find the
And
best
that
local
damn game
offers.
against the Pelicans with that hot
Everything you
shooting
need
from
is
3 is
just
the
a
only
few
one that did
clicks
the
away
name.
on Toyota.com. So for your next Toyota car, truck, or SUV, just visit Toyota.com. We make it easy. Toyota, let's go places.
Dan Patrick.
Commissioner, the NBA, Adam Silver. Give me the wildest thing that you guys have considered.
The NBA is the only
You can
league
hear the
that plays
commercials?
48 minutes. I am a fan of 4 10-minute quarters, putting aside what it means for records and things like that. Incidentally, if you went to a 40-minute game with the issues around load management and resting,
I don't
it
know
would be
that's
the
about.
equivalent of taking like 15 games off the season.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday morning, 6 a.m. Right here on LA's home of the world champion Dodgers.
Yeah, the Cavs will
Drivers
be
who switch and
angry.
save with
Carlo
Progressive
brought this
could
up
save
earlier.
hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big
Fortunately,
time.
he's right.
Switch to the expensive shampoo with amino acids. Sure, you don't know what those are or why you need them, but it sounds very impressive. And if you switch and save hundreds, you can massage it into your scalp every day. Now, if only you can get people to lean toward your head to smell those aminos. Switch to
You guys hear the
Progressive and you can
commercials?
save big time. For shampoo, Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Throws it off the window, finishes in the foul.
Los Angeles.
Clipper Nation.
This is your home for the LA Clippers.
LA Clippers.
Take us with you on the iHeartRadio app.
Clippers win 123-88 here at Intuit Dome over the Charlotte Hornets. Welcome back into your post-game show. I'm Adam Osland. Coming up, we'll get to your complete game box score. But let's get to some second half highlights. Clippers led by 24 minutes into this one. They were up in the half by 24 in that third quarter. After he was cooking in the second, it was more from Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi, top of the key 3, puts it in. Back-to-back Clipper threes, and they are up by 30. Kawhi curls, pedals into the paint, rises and lays it up with the right hand. 18 for Leonard on 11 shots. Dribbling, swing at Leonard, left wing, fires a 3. Oh yeah, Kawhi with 21, his third 3 of the game. Touch pass back to Kawhi on the baseline. He's got a hoist. The mid-range jumper is pure. Leonard the bucket. Clippers back up 32.
Kawhi had 10 points in the third quarter. They wouldn't have to play the fourth, I believe. The Clippers led 95-62. Heading into the fourth to close this one out, Norman Powell is back.
Norman Powell on a backdoor cut, right-handed layup for the Clippers. Welcome back, Norman Powell. His first bucket. Clippers with it in a fresh 14. Coffee to Norm. Shooting practice from the left wing. On target. And Norman Powell connects from distance. Clippers have 3 on 2. Bogdanovich to Norm. Sprinting to the rim. Reverse layup with the right hand. And a timeout. Charles Lee. The Clippers have matched their largest lead.
All 7 of Norm's points in the ball game came in the fourth quarter. He ended up playing 22 minutes and 40 seconds. Just 3 of 13. Definitely knocking off some rust. Got to play with some different guys out there, some different lineups, some different rotations. He didn't start the second half. I think that's the reason. They wanted to play him one long chunk of time where he'd have a chance to get in with multiple lineups and some of the new guys on this Clippers team, as this was the most Norm had played outside the 9 minutes he played in that second game against the Lakers post All-Star break. So good to see Norman Powell looking good, looking spry out there. Clippers look real good, winning 123-88. They have won 6 of 7 as they take down the Charlotte Hornets. And they take them down something fierce here at Intuit Dome. Coming up next, we'll preview Tuesday's game against the best team in the league, the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have lost just 11 games. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network.
Water getting boiled, being so Snoopy in the hookie.
Jan from Toyota here. Feeling cooped up from winter? Well, now until March 31st is the perfect time for a new Toyota, like Camry, Grand Highlander, and more. So you can get back out there and do the things you love, like hitching up the boat to a tundra for a
the
lake
horrible
day.
start after the All-Star break is somewhat tied to Norman Powell being injured.
Live out your spring fantasies with a new Toyota. Come in today.
Go from dreaming
No,
into
you can't,
thriving.
Thomas.
Dealer inventory may vary. See your
Put a sock in
participating
it.
Toyota dealer for details. Toyota, let's go places.
This is Colin Cowherd.
Forget about the master
Am I noticing the
bathroom and
Batum
a
Zoo
great
trend?
kitchen.
Did you hear me
This
on
is
Clippers Talk
laying
yesterday? Go
concrete.
through the numbers.
This
Yes,
is
I'm noticing
foundation up. They need stability. They need culture, and Pete provides that. I think he's an excellent fit with the Raiders. Pretty good
It's not
bet
just
that
the
That game
horrible
end
start.
kind of early.
just won't do.
Yeah, this game went fast.
Weekday mornings at
What time are
9
we going
It's
till?
supposed to go till
right here on
7:30.
your home of the world
All right.
champion Dodgers.
AM 570 LA Sports.
Clippers fans, dunks, dimes, and no looks are great on TV, but nothing.
I don't hear it during the segment, but like during the break, I can hear a little return of the commercials.
Official home of the LA Clippers.
It's not a huge deal, but just to
Time for Clippers
pop on what the
season
chat was
and
saying, that, yeah, you
boost
can't hear it.
features you have to see to believe,
What
including
do
the
we do?
Halo board and the wall, which includes 51 uninterrupted rows of the biggest Clippers fans.
I mean, it's fine because I don't hear anything like feeding back when you're on air.
Intuit Dome helps you enjoy the NBA IRL like never before. So get your tickets to see all the action at LA's sickest new arena. It all starts with buying verified tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the LA Clippers and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can watch every highlight in person. From seeing your favorite Clippers up close to hearing the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood. So get tickets at Ticketmaster because there's no better brag than saying you saw it live.
This is the LA Clippers Audio Network.
Best fans and best arena in the entire sport.
Take us with you wherever you are on the iHeartRadio app.
Back to Clippers basketball.
Clippers win by 35 over the Charlotte Hornets here at Intuit Dome. Welcome back in. Clips 123, Hornets 88. Just complete domination from your LA Clippers in this one. Final box score, Kawhi Leonard in his 27 minutes, 23 points on 9 of 16 shooting, 3 of 4 from distance, plus 5 assists. Good to see him get unlocked from 3 there and knock them down. Why didn't my box score update here? I mean, that's stat line from Kawhi was updated, but we got more for you here. Derrick Jones Jr. ended up with 12 points on 5 of 7 shooting and did get elbowed in the left hip in the second half. Thought he was going to come out of the game. Did not. At one point went to the locker room. I hope it's just a bruise and he's able to go. We know he's a tough guy and usually comes back from injuries pretty quickly. 5 of 7 from the field, though, to get to those 12 points. 1 of 2 overall. Ivica Zubac with 17 and 14. Another double-double for Big Zoo. Norman Powell with just 7 points, all coming in the fourth quarter. A lot of rust out there. 3 of 13, 1 of 4 from 3. James Harden led all scorers with 31. He had 15 of his 31 points in the first half. Amir Coffey off the bench with 9. Bogey with an efficient 7, 3 of 4, 19 minutes, 1 of 1 from the outside. As for the Hornets, LaMelo Ball was 16, Mark Williams with 18 and 15, but they shot under 40% from the field and were just 6 of 33 from the outside. Clippers win 123-88 here at Intuit Dome, where they will be on Tuesday night taking on the best team in the league, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Tip-off is at 7:30, pregame at 6:30. Outside of Los Angeles, we are leaving you until then in LA. It's Clippers Talk next. Check, check. You guys still hearing commercials? Let me know. Hopefully YouTube doesn't slap me down. What are you guys hearing now? Did we fix it for you?
Adam Silver, give me the wildest thing that you guys have considered.
The NBA is the only league with 48 minutes. I am a fan of 4 10-minute quarters, putting aside what it means for records.
I know there's a little delay. Someone said yes, someone said no. Can we get a consensus here? F said no, it stopped. Okay, we're good. Thank you. Cool, cool. Wow. We're with you for another hour here, Clipper Nation.
Your Southern California Ford dealers are helping first responders with donations and support to the LA Fire Department and California Community Wildfire Recovery.
If your vehicles were damaged by the recent Los Angeles
If you guys want to call in, 866-987-2570 is the phone number.
LA Strong, built with pride.
This is Colin Cowherd.
Forget about the master bathroom and a great kitchen. This is laying concrete. This is foundation up. They need stability. They need culture, and Pete provides that. I think he's an excellent fit with the Raiders. Pretty good bet that a coordinator just won't do.
Colin Cowherd.
Chill, F.
Right here on your home of the
That's good, because without you, we're screwed. F gotta chill. Looking to get you guys some quotes from Coach Lou after this. Clippers got 4 weeks left in the season, guys. They just won 6 of 7. Should have been 7 straight.
We're taking your calls on the LA Clippers right now.
This is Clippers Talk.
On air and on demand. The Clippers show of record.
Your chance to react to everything Clippers.
Clippers news happens.
Let me guess, it's about Kawhi?
Here we are.
And now here he is, the host of your LA Clippers pre- and post-game.
At follow Adam A.
Adam Osley.
Clippers creating a little bit of buzz after a 123-88 victory over the Charlotte Hornets, where they have now won 6 of their last 7 games. Welcome into Clippers Talk, live from Intuit Dome. I'm Adam Osland. Coming up, we'll get to your phone calls at 866-987-2570, 866-987-2570. We'll also bring you some post-game audio from Coach Lou and the players after the Clippers just completely dominate and win by 35 over the Charlotte Hornets. When the game where they led by as many as 38 here at Intuit Dome. There are times during a long regular season where I think a blowout victory like this isn't that helpful, doesn't tell you that much about your team. This is not one of them. This was necessary. This was needed. This validates what we've been seeing as of late from the Clippers. This confirms a lot of the good play that we've seen against better teams, and it carried over into what you would expect against a bad team who, by the way, just had an abysmal shooting night. Some of this is the Clippers defense. Some of this is the law of averages going against the Charlotte Hornets because they hit 26 three-pointers their last game against San Antonio. The record is 29. Tonight, they went 6 of 33 from the outside. So if everybody's saying Clippers luck, hot shooting, the opposition always finds the bottom of the net against the Clippers, outlier shooting, not tonight, not this time. This was the Clippers team being helped out by the law of averages going in their favor. Kind of a big deal. One of the reasons you get a lopsided victory like this. The Clippers were good. They were very good. The Charlotte Hornets were also just miserable shooting the basketball. They shot 39% from the field and 18% from 3, and nobody scored more than 18 points. That would be Mark Williams, who had 18 and 15. Meanwhile, the Clippers, I saw a lot of guys heating up at different times. It starts with James Harden, though. That first quarter from James, we've seen it a lot this season. He has been the Clippers MVP. He has been that steady force for them, getting them set up on the offensive side, running the show, being a system. He didn't say the system, he said a system. Harden got things started with a mid-range floater on the left elbow. Then a step back three, another floater. Three from the far side. It's 20-13 Clippers after they led, I want to say 9-2, and then it was tied up at 11-11, and then they really pulled away. He had an and one down the left alley to make it 26-16 and had 15 points in the first quarter in the opening period, setting the tone. Not everybody else had it going. James Harden kind of said, I'm going to be hot tonight. Don't worry about it. I'll start 5 of 7 and 2 of 3 from the outside to get to those 15 points. Clippers won the first quarter 32-21. I also think we got some good stuff from Bogey near the second half of the first quarter when he came in early for Norman Powell. Welcome back, Norm. He struggled. He was rusty. Doesn't matter. They need him moving forward desperately, and they need him to catch a rhythm. More about that. But Bogey came in, had a little Euro step transition bucket, then knocked down a three-pointer. Didn't play heavy minutes, just 19, but had 7 points, 3 of 4 shooting, 1 of 1 from the outside. Clippers in the second quarter ran into a little bit of trouble where at one point I believe they had missed 6 straight shots to start off the second. But then Kawhi, after starting 0 of 3 in this game, he missed a right elbow jumper over Bridges. Early on, LaMelo went around a screen for a floater on him. He was short on a mid-range shot. There was a transition play the other way. Second quarter, he misses a midi long. His first bucket was a fadeaway at the 8:45 mark of the second over Miles Bridges. Then another fadeaway over Bridges. Then Kawhi, a straightaway 3 off a Zoo screen, made it 43-32. The Clippers were starting to pull away. Kawhi, a layup in transition, a swooping layup where he got hit on the head by LaMelo Ball. No call. He almost hit him in the neck. It was a pretty obvious one. Kawhi couldn't get the call. He didn't really sell it either. Did say something to the officials later, but the Clippers at the half, after getting 11 points in that second quarter from Kawhi, are up 24. So they outscored the Hornets in the first half by a point per minute to lead by 24 after the first 24 minutes. It's 65-41 Clippers. At the half, James Harden has 23. He had 8 more points in that second quarter. Beats Zubats. He's already at 11 and 8 and 5 assists. Zoo was dishing out there. Kawhi had 11. So make it, he had 9 points in that second quarter. Correction there, not 11. Had 11 points at the half. But after missing his first 3 shots, I believe he hit his next 6 out there. Kawhi was good, real good. There were some tough shots that he hit in the third quarter. First of all, he got an easy one on a back cut free feed from James Harden to start the period. Then Harden hits a 3. Then Kawhi hits a 3. The Clippers are up 30. Then he would finally miss. So from the span of the end of the second into the third quarter, Kawhi had hit 6 straight shots after missing his first 3 shots of the game. He finished 9 of 16. So he went 9 for his last 13 to get to 23 points. But it was really good to see. I often say this with Kawhi. It's like he's sighting the scope, and the accuracy comes eventually. He's a little bit wide right, and a little bit wide left, and then he centers it. And then he just can't miss. That's when Kawhi is at his best and just looks unstoppable and sees through defenders on those jump shots. But there's not much more important to this Clippers team than Kawhi Leonard obviously looking like himself. We've been talking about this for a while. And I thought tonight was another step in the right direction. 23 points in just 27 minutes. He also had 5 assists. The Clippers almost assisted on 70% of their made field goals. They had 30 assists to 45 made field goals. 13 of 26 from the outside. They're shooting 50% from 3. And Kawhi was 3 of 4. So we've been watching that. How do his legs look from distance, from deep? Does he have the lift? Well, he did tonight. It just took 3 shots to get him out of his system. And then he centered the scope, and then he was on target. That is a dangerous version of the claw. Now, I'm still going to say his play has been somewhat up and down, and I need to see more. But he is trending in the right direction. If you look overall of the numbers in March from Kawhi Leonard and his averages, I believe he was averaging 23 coming into this ball game in March. 24. I think that's now included on his ESPN game log. But he's played 7 games in March. He had 33, his highest scoring game, that second game against the Lakers. 21 against Phoenix, where he looked, I think, even better than he did against the Lakers. That dunk he had on Nick Richards was probably the most explosive play he's had this season. I thought through the first 3 quarters, remember the Clippers were up by 23, that was the best he had looked. Then he struggled a little bit at times against the Knicks, 20 points on 6 of 18 shooting. Struggled against the Kings till he hit the game winner, 7 of 19 to get 17 points. Against New Orleans, I thought he looked really good for 3 quarters, but he wasn't aggressive in the 4th. Still finished with 29. Clippers lost that game, though, to a hot shooting Pelicans team. And then he played with much more force and pop against Atlanta, I would say, with his 25 points on 21 shots. But I like seeing him get up 21 shots. And he had a couple of really spectacular layups, but he was just 1 of 4 from 3 in that game. Well, tonight he goes 3 of 4 and 23 points in 27 minutes. So he was on his way to a 30 spot, but the Clippers were up by 30. He didn't need to play much. Good to see. I think this helps their confidence knowing that, okay, we're dismantling teams. We're getting back to that point where we're handling bad teams the way we should and just annihilating the Charlotte Hornets in this game. 4th game this season where the opponent was held under 90 points. Hornets at 88. 2nd lowest opponent 3-point percentage on the season at, 18%? The low would be Sacramento went 17.5% from 3 against them back in November. And then it was their season high in offensive rebounds was 17. The Clippers. They had 17 second chance points off those 17 offensive rebounds. There were times where Charlotte was getting multiple offensive rebounds. They had one possession where they had 3 opportunities in the first half, but the Clippers got 3 stops. They ended up with 11 offensive rebounds. There's really no area where the Clippers were glaringly bad. They had just 10 turnovers. And guys, I've been telling you, they have cut down on the turnovers in a big way post All-Star break, where they have been averaging around 12 per game. So while they have been struggling in some areas and losing ball games out of the All-Star break, there was this dirty little secret that, they're getting better taking care of the basketball. Now, if you can marry that with some better shooting from the outside, as the Clippers were struggling at times from 3, while other teams coming out of the All-Star break were knocking down everything, then they could be in business. So now we're starting to see what happens with a Clippers team that offensively is playing better, and they're still taking care of the basketball. Really good to see. James Harden, just 2 turnovers to 7 assists. Now, he did have 6 last game against Atlanta, but all 6 came in the first half. Second half, 0. What happened? They blew him out in the second half. Atlanta's a better basketball team than the Hornets, obviously. Hornets are in, seems like a perpetual rebuild. Michael Jordan, not the best talent evaluator. I don't think he's a minority owner anymore, but responsible for some of the lack of talent. But look, they've also had a ton of injuries this season. You know, Brandon Miller breaking his wrist, I think it was a tough blow for them. Grant Williams, I think, tearing his ACL was tough. So while they're rebuilding, they're also having these difficult injuries to work through. And the bright spot has been LaMelo at times, but he's inefficient, I think mostly because the team he's on. Miles Bridges had been playing really well, though I think he'd been averaging 30 over the last couple of weeks. And he was completely held in check to just 7 points tonight. And LaMelo just had 16 on 5 of 18 shooting. Bridges just took 10 shots and was 3 of 10, 107 from 3. This is the game where you have to say, to some degree, the law of averages played in the Clippers' favor with a hot shooting team that maybe got all that hot shooting out of their system against San Antonio, because tonight they were ice cold from 3, 6 of 33 when they're coming off a game where they hit 26 threes. It might have been a franchise record. Obviously, it was a season high for them. I mean, the all-time record's 29. They hit 26 threes. That's crazy. Clippers win 123-88 over the Charlotte Hornets here at Intuit Dome. We'll take a quick timeout. We'll come back. We'll get to your phone calls at 866-987-2570, 866-987-2570. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to AM 570 LA Sports. Daniel, can you add 2 minutes so I can go to the bathroom?
Your Southern California Ford dealers are helping first responders with donations and support to the LA Fire Department and California Community Wildfire Recovery.
If your vehicles were damaged by the recent Los Angeles area fires, your Southern California Ford dealers are offering you employee pricing.
It takes all of us to turn heartache into hope and make it home again.
LA Strong, built Ford proud.
Dan Patrick.
Commissioner of the NBA, Adam Silver. Give me the wildest thing that you guys have considered.
The NBA is the only league that plays 48 minutes. I am a fan of 4 10-minute quarters, putting aside what it means for records and things like that. Incidentally, if you went to a 40-minute game with the issues around load management and resting, it would be the equivalent of taking like 15 games off the season.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday morning, 6 a.m., right here on LA's home of the world champion Dodgers.
Jan from Toyota here. Feeling cooped up from winter? Well, now until March 31st is the perfect time for a new Toyota, like Camry, Grand Highlander, and more. So you can get back out there and do the things you love, like hitching up the boat to a tundra for a lake day.
I haven't water skied in a long time.
Live out your spring fantasies with a new Toyota. Come in today.
Go from dreaming it to driving it. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Toyota, let's go places.
This is Colin Cowherd.
Forget about the master bathroom and a great kitchen. This is laying concrete. This is foundation up. They need stability. They need culture, and Pete provides that. I think he's an excellent fit with the Raiders. Pretty good bet that a coordinator just won't do.
Colin Cowherd. Weekday mornings at 9 a.m. after Dan Patrick. Right here on your home of the world champion Dodgers.
AM 570 LA Sports.
Nothing compares to catching Clippers basketball IRL. And nobody knows that better than you, LA fans. This season is even more exciting with the Clippers moving to their new home, Intuit Dome in Inglewood. Intuit Dome redefines the way fans watch basketball, including incredible features like the interactive Halo board and 51 rows of uninterrupted seats in the wall. Be sure to take it all in and experience the NBA IRL like never before. It all starts with buying verified tickets to the next Clippers home game at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the LA Clippers and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you into the game so you can catch every highlight in person. And that goes double for all the sneaker squeaks, celebrity sightings, and drip checks. So get Clippers tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're here at Intuit Dome or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back.
What up, Daniel?
Scoring tickets.
Hey, you want to come back here? You want to
saying you saw it live.
Oh, let's do it.
Los Angeles, Clipper Nation. This is your home for the LA Clippers. LA Clippers. Take us with you on the iHeartRadio app.
Clippers with a decisive victory over the Charlotte Hornets here at Intuit Dome. 123-88 is your final. Welcome back in. I'm Adam Moslin. This is Clippers Talk here on AM 570 LA Sports. 866-987-2570 is the phone number. Giving out that one for KIB. 866-987-2570. Demetrius in LA. Demetrius, what's up here on Clippers Talk with Adam Moslin? Hi, Demetrius.
Adam, I love cooling the game and I love coaching in the sunshine, Dan, man. You got a lot of rhythm going here. It's amazing. Long time, I don't think I spoke to you in a couple of weeks, but it's been a few days. Very excited. It seems like you've been a coach, Adam, because you hit right on the money when we talk about Big Three. We got the receipt, and I keep hating and keep bringing up Big Three because of the phenomenal job that he's been doing, and we've been talking about give him acclimated in the game. He makes the game much easier. But then also it gives him a ton of credit moving forward, especially going forward into the playoffs. I just love what this team is doing now. The new defense is showing up. We talked about all four players now. Welcome back, Kyle. All four players going in double digits. I think that's what I wanted to speak to you about, is that now we have four players going into the playoffs in double digits with the bench that we have, with the defense playing the new defense. I think we're going to be in a real serious situation here. And I think moving forward, I think we got about, 14 games to go. I'm hoping we can go 11-3, 12-2. I know it's a push because of the back-to-back. But I truly believe that, Adam, we got something going here. What do you think?
Demetrius, I appreciate the phone call. I'm with you. I like the way they're playing. Defensively, the last 3 games, holding the Heat to 104, holding Atlanta to 98, now holding the Charlotte Hornets to 88 points. It looks like they're getting back to their defensive principles and getting back to that defensive intensity on that end that we saw early on this season, throughout the majority of the season, but they haven't been as good the last month or so on the defensive side. That's really encouraging to me. And then if you can merge that great defense with them having more talent on the offensive end, with Kawhi being back and now Norm being back, that's how all of a sudden you get to a place where this Clippers team can be extremely dangerous and look like what we had hoped to see early on with Kawhi, which is a team that's a top 5 defensive team, and then can they get to being a top 10 offensive team when Kawhi is back? Well, they have been better as of late on the offensive end. They've won 6 of 7. It's starting to trend that way. I know you guys can't hear the audio. I'm at Intuit Dome. You can never hear the audio when I bring up callers, unfortunately, from Burbank when I'm here. I know it's a problem, but I'll just try to transcribe some of what our caller said in Demetrius. He's asking about how he feels about the Clippers, how I feel about them right now. He's hoping they can go 11-3 the last 14 games of the season. And the state of the team right now, they're in a good place, but they're entering the eye of the storm in the schedule also. The Clippers this week, it's not just the Cavaliers on Tuesday, but then Friday, you're taking on Memphis. And then Sunday, you're taking on the Thunder. So this is a 4-game homestand after that 3-1 road trip they just came back from. And they'll head back out for an East Coast road trip. So 3 tough games coming up, which is why getting guys rest and reacclimating somebody like Norman Powell in a game like this, where you didn't have to play high intensity, late clutch time basketball and have guys with tired legs going into that game against the Cavaliers, was so important. And caller Demetrius brought up Norman Powell as well. Good to see him back. There was something interesting that happened in the second half. Norm started the game as we expected. He didn't start the second half. So he starts the game with the starting lineup of Kawhi, DJ, Zoo, Norman Powell, and James Harden. That starting lineup has one of the best net ratings in the league. They haven't been able to throw it out there enough because of injuries going on. But that starting lineup with DJ in there next to Norm, next to James Harden, next to Kawhi, next to Ivica Zubac has been elite of the elite. They've been incredible this season. And I was interested to see which way Coach Lue was going to go with Norm back. I expected him to be in the starting lineup, but who would be that fifth guy? Would it be Nico? Would it be Chris Dunn? But he's out tonight, unfortunately. Left knee soreness again, coming out of the game against Atlanta. So DJ gets the start, and it made a lot of sense to me because the net rating has been that good. So Harden, Kawhi, Norman Powell, Ivica Zubac, Derek Jones Jr., they have, and I don't think this includes tonight's minutes, but it might. I doubt it. They have an offensive rating of 126.8 and a defensive rating of 101.6. That's a net rating of 25.2 in 174 minutes. And for a while, and this may still be true, of lineups that had played 150 minutes, they had the best net rating in the league. I'd have to double check on that, but at worst, it's near the very top. So it makes sense for DJ to be the fifth guy. It makes sense to start Norman Powell, who's been their leading scorer on the season. Some people were saying, is Norm really going to start? Why would he not start? He's averaging 24 per game. But in the second half, Coach Lue started Nico Batum. Now, I'm looking for post-game audio from Coach Lue about that. But I think it was to get him one long stint from the midway point of the third quarter into the first half of the fourth quarter, where he wasn't coming in and out off the hamstring, and he could get more time with some of the others and role players out there, not just the rest of the starters who he's more familiar with anyways. I think that was the point. Because if you started him in the third quarter, he might only play the first 8 to 10 minutes of the third, and then his night's done, and he hasn't played much with the guys in the second unit and some of his new teammates, with Ben Simmons, with Bogey, with Eubanks. I think that's what they were doing, but we'll see. I'm interested to hear from Coach Lue about that. Is it something where he's going to be tinkering with the starting lineup? I just don't see how you take Norman Powell out at this point with how good of a season he's had, where you can make the argument, I think he had a better year than J-Dub. He could have been starting, or he could have been an all-star over Jalen Williams with the OKC Thunder. Norm's been their leading scorer, their go-to guy a lot of the season. And the efficiency's there. So you're going to bring that guy off the bench? Does that make sense to anybody? Like, someone's pointing out Powell starting doesn't mean he A, finishes, or B, starts every game of every series. I mean, maybe, but he's been finishing before he was a starter. He was finishing games last season. Remember the Powell Rangers lineup, their most devastating lineup? He has some of the best clutch numbers and the best fourth quarter numbers in the league the last two seasons. Norman Powell. Not even debatable, not even close. He shot like close to 60% from the field in fourth quarters last year and close to 50% from three. And then before he went out with injury, he was around the same place in fourth quarters this year. with those percentages. So how do you not have that guy in? Especially on a team that they've been great defensively, even with Norman Powell starting. What they lack at times is offensive punch, play finishers on the offensive end. Norm fits in so well because he doesn't need the ball in his hands to cook. He doesn't need to play with the basketball or over dribble. He just gets it, shoots it, catch and shoot guy or off the dribble guy, going to his right quickly to the basket. That's who Norm is. He doesn't dance much. He doesn't have a huge bag. You don't need to. So while Kawhi and James Harden are going ISO, and Ivica Zubac might back down his man like he did tonight against Musa Diabate, punished him. Norm is just quick decisions, quick actions out there. That's perfect to fit next to this team with the way it's constructed. Clippers win by 35 over the Charlotte Hornets. And while we have a moment, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification here on AM 570 LA Sports.
This is LA Clippers basketball. AM 570 KLAC Los Angeles, 98.7 KYSR HD2 Los Angeles, and iHeart radio station.
Harold in North Hollywood. You're on Clippers Talk with Adam Osland. He went to Harold. What's up, Harold? Not at all. Harold in North Hollywood. Let's go. He is. We're lucky to have him. Harold. The quality of the game is better than ever. You just listen to pundits and analysts who are old timers that want to crap on the game all the time because it makes their era look better. I can't agree with you there. I can't. I'm sorry. There are more tough shot makers in this league, guys who are more unguardable than ever. The 48 points we just saw from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander yesterday in that game against Detroit, some of the moves he made are just basketball god stuff that players from the past couldn't dream of doing. Like, incredible, untouchable. Because they make them. No, they make them way more than guys of the past. Way more. Oh, league average is around 36%, Harold. But what if I told you this? What if I told you the math works like this? If you're shooting 33% from three, which is 3% below league average, that's the equivalent of shooting 50% from two. So even when you're not shooting it that well, it still is a decent shot because it's worth an extra point. It is the math. The math has unlocked a different style of play. Like, instead of taking a lot of long twos like you used to see in the NBA, they're stepping back 2 feet and taking a shot that's worth a point more. Well, what about last game where the Hornets hit 26 threes? Like, I could go the other way with it. Like, yes, there are some games where well, in NBA history, it's a make or miss league. There are some games where you're on more than others. You can't expect perfect basketball every game, or just point to the bad games, Harold, and say, see, the game isn't as good as it used to be, or see, this is unwatchable. It's like, well, was it watchable when they knocked down 26 threes? They're a bad team. But they're not bad because they take threes. They're bad because they don't have the most talent and they have a bunch of guys banged up. That has nothing to do with style of play. Harold, there have always been bad teams in the league. I can give you bad teams from yesteryear too. The Charlotte Hornets are a bad team in today's league at 17-50. That's nothing new. They said hit 26 threes the other day. Yes. Tonight they did not. It's kind of a law of averages things. Sure. All right. I appreciate you, Harold. Thank you for the phone call. We'll take a quick timeout. We'll come back. Clippers win over the Charlotte Hornets by 35 with the final score of 123-88 here at Intuit Dome as they get ready to take on, well, the best team in the league. The Cleveland Cavaliers on Tuesday night right back here, 7:30 tip, pregame at 6:30. Madam Oslin, more Clippers talk coming up next here on AM 570 LA Sports.
It's where we raise our families, earn a living, enjoy life.
Oh, I don't know how that worked with you guys not being able to hear Harold chat, but if you listen on AM 570, you could hear him. New account. You don't know ball. Taking long 2-pointers, which is what they used to do, is not smarter than taking 3-pointers. The team that scores the most points per possession is going to win the game. It's about efficiency. It's about taking the right type of shots.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday morning, 6 a.m., right here on LA's home of the world champion Dodgers.
The game is fine. You just have Shaq and casuals who don't actually watch it talk about it all the time, and it forms opinions with people because they're supposed to know things, but they don't even watch the game. Did you guys see Shaq recently say, "Oh, the Pistons suck"? It's like 8 games above 500. Well, so what? They're not a championship team. So any team that isn't a championship team sucks. Like any team that's not a top 3 seed, we can't talk about or watch or enjoy. It's crazy. Yeah, he called Chauncey Billups their head coach, that dumbass. Their head coach is JB Bickerstaff. He doesn't watch games. And these are the biggest voices and pundits out there. The game, guys have never been more skilled. It's not even close. Go back and watch The Last Dance and watch them trying to shoot a 30-foot three. Clippers blow out the Charlotte Hornets, 123-88. With you for about 20 more minutes here on Clippers Talk. Live from Intuit Dome, I'm Adam Osland, 866-987-2570. 866-987-2570 is the phone number. Clippers played a sound basketball game. The Charlotte Hornets have 17 victories on the season. They're struggling. Is what happens when you have these two worlds collide, where the Clippers are ascending right now. The problem is not quite up the standings because there's 2 teams in front of them that refuse to lose in the Minnesota Timberwolves and Golden State Warriors. But they are, as I've been talking about for a week now, pretty secure in that 8 spot. So at worst, I believe they're going to finish 8th, which would put them in a play-in game between the team that finishes 7th, currently the Minnesota Timberwolves. They'd have to go out on the road if they're the 8th spot, though. Not easy. They've gone to Minnesota before for a play-in game back in 2022 and lost that one. But that was with Paul George. They have Kawhi. He looked very good overall, very efficient out there with his 23 points in just 27 minutes on 9 of 16 shooting after he missed his first 3 shots. He caught fire after that. Let's hear from one of my favorites. Gotta cleanse the palate. Lenny in Inglewood. Lenny, you're on Clippers Talk with Adam Osland. Lenny, what's up? You think Cleveland and OKC, those are both must wins? You want the Clippers to show something? You needed to see them beat Cleveland and OKC. I don't even know if mathematically, I don't know if that's true mathematically. I got to be honest with you. You know, Golden State's 13-1 or something like that with Jimmy Butler now. They're not losing. Minnesota's not losing either. I think they've won 8 in a row. So they need help. They don't control their own destiny. They need help. Well, they've been the best team in the West for 2 straight years now. I agree with you. I know. I agree with you. All right, Lenny. It's a high standard, but I get it. If you want to feel like you're a contender, you got to beat the top team. So it makes sense. Appreciate it, Lenny. Clippers win by 35 here at Intuit Dome over the Charlotte Hornets. Lenny in Inglewood saying he doesn't care if they lose to Memphis because they beat them twice already. He's confident against them. I am too. In a 7-game series, that's the ideal matchup in the first round. Of course, to get to the first round series, they're probably going to have to win a play-in game. It's them, then Houston, to me. Those are the top 2 teams you want to see. But to Lenny's point, they haven't beat the game they did win. You know what? They did have one victory against OKC where both teams were pretty fully loaded. That was last season at Staples at Crypto, where Kawhi had the block on SGA late, and it was a measuring stick type performance. It was late December, early January. Measuring stick performance, a couple of them coming up, starting with Cleveland. Tuesday night. Yeah, if you want to believe this team is for real and can beat anybody and play with anybody, they got to prove it. The regular season matters. How you play against them now matters. And it would give them a ton of confidence if they could beat Cleveland and OKC this week. They get them at home. I think that would change a lot of Clippers fans' minds. I mean, there's many people who have been doom and gloom, and they only show up in the chat when the Clippers lose, and they haven't been showing up as of late. And I think it's because the Clippers are starting to prove them wrong. They've won 6 of 7. They're not folding on the season. Their defense is coming back. Their offense has been playing better. You merge those two things, you're in business. But we'll see Tuesday night. Big test against the best team in the league. I don't believe Carlo was bringing this up earlier that Cleveland has lost 2 games in a row this season. And they just lost to Orlando tonight at home. So they're going to be hungry. They're going to be up for that ball game. I think Evan Mobley rested today. He's probably playing back in SoCal. Former Trojan. I'd expect him to be playing. We'll take a quick timeout. We'll come back. We'll get back to your phone calls. 866-987-2570. 866-987-2570 is the phone number. Clippers win by 35 here at Intuit Dome over a struggling Charlotte Hornets team. But the Clippers have now won 6 of 7, and it could have been 7 in a row. You know the game they lost in New Orleans, where the Pelicans hit 18 threes and shot 55% from the outside, their best three-point percentage of the season. The next 2 games, they shoot 10% from 3. Clippers luck. But tonight, the Charlotte Hornets, coming off a game where they hit 26 threes, only hit 6 total tonight and shot 18% from 3. So, goes both ways. More Clippers talk next here on AM 570 LA Sports. F said, if the Magic can beat the Cavs, we can beat the Cavs. The Cavs are beatable, and the Clippers have had the last 2 seasons at home 2 pretty miraculous wins against them, 2 big comebacks. Now, that was at Crypto. A couple years ago, they came back down 13 in the final 3 minutes, I want to say, and then last year was the comeback where Paul George hit the game winner over Evan Mobley. He dropped him on a move, on a fall away. So they have had a little bit of a mental edge over the Cavs in LA. The Clippers, I don't know if you knew this, but they're bottom 10 in the league in 3-pointers attempted per game. New account, you must be new to this Clippers team. Because you're talking nonsense. It's completely not true. The Clippers aren't a high 3-point shooting team. I mean, you could just look at tonight's game. They only took 26 of them. But hey, why pay attention when you can just spam a message board or a chat? The Pelicans treat Clippers games like they're their finals. I know Evan Mobley didn't play against the Magic, but I'm expecting him to play on Tuesday. Arguing against the 3 philosophy when the team that led the league in 3-pointers attempted, the Boston Celtics are the world champs, is bold. They're taking even more this season. I don't know if you knew this, but the Boston Celtics took the most threes in the league, and they're world champs. Clippers blow out the Charlotte Hornets. A decisive victory here at Intuit Dome. Welcome back. I'm Adam Moslin. Clippers 123, the Hornets 88. As the Clippers prepare for bigger fish to fry, they got the Cleveland Cavaliers coming in. Best record in the league. but they lost today. They're going to be even hungrier. They're 56-11. I don't believe they've lost 2 games in a row all season long. I should double check on that. But Coach Lou postgame called this a professional victory by the Clippers. You know, a taking care of business type of win. You have a bad team coming in. They've only won 17 games. Okay, Cleveland did lose back-to-back games once, and they lost them to the same team, the Atlanta Hawks, back in November. Beat them in back-to-back games. They beat them in Cleveland, then they beat them in Atlanta. Actually, is this true? They've lost 3 in a row before. For a team that only has 11 losses, it's a little bit surprising. Oh, I'm glad I checked then. They lost 3 in a row in late January at Houston, at Philly, and then Houston at home. So it's not unprecedented for them to lose 2 games in a row, the Cavaliers. But yeah, they're dominant. They move the ball beautifully. Beautifully. Kenny Atkinson has done wonders for their ball movement. They play great team basketball out there. Shaq the other day said something like, what happens if Donovan Mitchell gets shut down? It's like, well, I don't know. They have 2 other all-stars on their team. Like, guys don't even watch. It's a joke. It's a sick joke because they get paid to watch, but they don't watch. They have a lot of different ways to beat you. They will embarrass you at times if you don't bring it. Let's go to Mike in LA. Mike, you're on Clippers Talk with Adam Moslin. Hi, Mike. Zoo almost had a triple-double in this game, Mike. You bring up a great point. Now, he also had 5 turnovers, but he had 8 assists to 14 boards and 17 points. But I honestly think he had to get more reps. They had to actually get him the ball more for him to gain this experience where he's being doubled all the time now. And therefore, he's had to become a better passer because of all the double teams. And you're seeing the fruits of his labor. Against Cleveland on Tuesday? Yeah, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I appreciate the phone call, Mike. I'm going to have Bob Schmidt on, our voiceover guy, imaging guy at AM 570 and Fox Sports Radio, and also the host of the Fear the Fro podcast on tomorrow. But the Cavaliers have a historic offensive rating of 121.5. 121.5. They're 9th in pace also. Clippers are 21st. So contrasting styles, and Cleveland also has the 7th best defense. And that's dropped down a little bit as of late. They're so balanced. They really don't have any glaring weaknesses outside of Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland aren't elite defenders, and they're undersized. And you can go at that guy, at those guys some. But they're still a top 10 defense. You get by them, you got to deal with the Twin Towers, with Mobley, with Jared Allen. They have so many ways to beat you, and a lot of it for them was just between the ears, where a couple of years ago they lost in that first-round series to the New York Knicks in a series they shouldn't have lost. They were the better team. Then last season it took them 7, I believe, to get out of the first round against Orlando. They've needed more experience. I mean, Jared Allen in that series or after the series against the New York Knicks said, I guess the lights were a little too bright. They admitted it. Now there's expectations. Now they have the best record in the league. They're the best non-LeBron Cavaliers team ever. They're a tough matchup for anyone, but it's going to tell us a lot about Ivica Zubac and how much they trust him in this game against those two bigs. How much is Ivica Zubac going to be featured? Assuming Evan Mobley's playing, and I am. How much are they going to let him go to work if he doesn't have it, make the correct pass out of double teams? And I think he is better than Jared Allen. Evan Mobley's kind of a different beast because he can shoot. He's more of a modern big. But I would take Big Zoo over Jared Allen at this point. I think that's clear. But you still have to prove it. You still have to play like it. He's been playing like it all season long. But in a head-to-head matchup, I want to see him perform. This will be his toughest test, and the Clippers, to make sure to rely on him, make him a focal point consistently. If you look at Ivica Zubac and what he's done in the month of March, in 9 games, he is averaging 21 and 11 on 66% shooting from the field and getting up 15 shots per game. On the season, he's only getting up 11 shots per game. As of late, he's been getting the ball much more. He's been playing heavier minutes. There have been some injuries. Norm's back. He'll get less shot attempts. A caller asked me how many he should get, or somebody in the chat, when the Clippers are healthy. I think he should get 14 shot attempts per game. Honestly. He's too important. I don't know if he will. I doubt it, based upon him only averaging 11.5. But he has to play to his size against guys that can match him. And he has. He has dominated some really good bigs. He dominated Triple J. He's dominated AD this season. He has met the challenge. He's passed tests with flying colors. I just know Tuesday night. Now, it's not just that he's facing some good bigs, and 2 of them. It's the best team in the league record-wise. They, while losing today, have been running on all cylinders and have played more consistently at a higher level than anybody else throughout the majority of this season, the Cleveland Cavaliers. This is as tough as it gets. You get them at home, then you get them in Cleveland a couple weeks later. You got to get a win against them. To quote one of our callers earlier, one of my favorites, Lenny Inglewood, show me something. To get a lot of people to rally behind this team and believe again that if healthy, and this has always been the caveat all season, if healthy, you get Kawhi in a 7-game series, you got a shot against anybody. To still believe that, I think you have to beat some of these upper echelon teams coming up. They beat Memphis twice. Can they get at least one game against Cleveland and OKC? If they get both, a lot of people will have their faith restored in this Clippers club. Kawhi's got to be great too. I mentioned some of their weaknesses. You got a matchup hunt with them, those 2 smaller guards. Kawhi's play has been, from an efficiency standpoint, a little bit up and down and just not at that level yet. I think we're 25 games in with him this season where I can say, okay, he's the same version of himself from last year. I can't say that yet. He hasn't been. He hasn't been as efficient as that guy was last year. Is he holding things back? Has he not fully flipped the switch or turned it on, turned it up? That could be the case because I've seen at times that dunk on Nick Richards in Phoenix. I was like, whoa, okay, that's prime Kawhi Leonard. We've seen it in spurts. He has been running and pushing it with pace more as of late. I've liked seeing that. Tonight, after starting 0 for 3, he hits a mid-range shot and then hit his next 6, couldn't miss. That's last year's version of Kawhi. Or he might miss a couple, but once he gets 1 to go, it's over. He's become super efficient. but you need your stars to perform. The Clippers have lost some of these close games as of late because their stars weren't good enough, or they didn't close against Phoenix. They didn't close well enough against the Lakers. They weren't good enough against New Orleans. I thought Kawhi was a little bit too passive early in that fourth quarter. Their stars have to be better in the big moments. Against Milwaukee, even with Giannis off the court and a 13-point lead in the fourth quarter, Giannis is off the court the last 6 minutes. Never should have lost that game. Now with Norm back, and hopefully he gets, knocks the rust off in this game, going 3 of 13. And it's just enough reps for him to get into a more comfort zone where his shots start falling against Cleveland immediately. He just needs to see a couple go right away, and I'm sure he'll be fine. He was moving well overall out there. He did hit a three-pointer. But we don't know if Chris Dunn's going to be available. He's day-to-day. I mean, that would be great. Sick him on Darius Garland or Donovan Mitchell, Spida, of course. A Tuesday night, it is a showdown here. For, I think, a prove-it type of game for Clipper Nation to see that, okay, this team, the blueprint's still out there. There is still a formula that if they're healthy, they can hang with anyone. Tip-off from Intuit Dome. Tuesday night between the Clippers and Cleveland Cavaliers is at 7:30. Pregame at 6:30. Before we get out of here, I do want to thank the Clippers organization, Ralph Lawler, Brian Seaman, Noah Eagle, Carlo Jimenez on the call. We miss you, big bro, but thanks to David for filling in, our head engineer here at Intuit Dome. Daniel West, our head producer. Back in Burbank, the callers, the listeners, the chatters. Love you all. We'll talk to you on Tuesday. Thank you, Daniel. Clipper Nation, before we get out of here, I do want to remind you, Underdog Fantasy is the easiest way to play fantasy sports, and it's available in over 30 states. All you got to do is pick higher or lower on your favorite player stats, or your least favorite player stats. If you want to be a hater like that, you can win up to 100 times your money. Make picks, win money, and I got the free promo code for you that gives new users a free pick and up to not $200, not $500, up to $1,000 in bonus cash. The promo code is LAC, and you can find it and the referral link in the description down below in this episode of Clipper Stock. Underdog Fantasy, make picks, win money. YouTube, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.